Yeah, I know. That's what they got to do. Hello.
Hey, how you going?
Very good, thanks. Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just chilling at home.
Is that the wall?
Yep, this is the wall.
Is it
This
actually
is,
bricks or is it like a laminate thing?
yeah, they're like real bricks. So, yeah, I'm actually up in Ali's room, at the moment because we're housemates,
Ah,
up here in Girona. So it's a bit more quiet upstairs.
yeah,
It's like real old town. So they haven't really renovated the building in probably like 300 years. So, yeah, it's
very
just
cool.
pretty old school. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you guys were housemates. That's cool. That makes it easy when you're teammates too.
Yeah, for sure. And we're lucky because we don't really race like the same program, so we don't get too sick of each other. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. Hang on, let me just shut this door. Are you allowed to have pets?
We haven't asked, but there's this stray cat that kept coming in through the window for a while. So yeah, we were kind of looking after him for a while and then we realized it probably has fleas, so we kicked it out again. But yeah, we haven't really asked if we can have pets, but
Yeah,
I
I just
reckon
had to
they're
put
pretty
my
chill
cat
in space.
in the screen. We just
Oh,
got him some vaccinated. I got him some. He got one of his three vaccinations today. His name's Greg Van Avermaet.
oh, g'day
Yeah,
Greg. How you
yeah,
going?
Greg. He's just sitting there. So that's why I asked. I was just thinking about cats.
Yeah.
Hmm. So is it just you two that live there? You and Ali Wollaston, if anyone's listening, by the way.
Yeah, so it's Ali and then Kel's kind of moved in a little bit this year because they're together. And then I
Mhm.
also live with my boyfriend Alex, who rides on the Alpecin development team. And then
Yeah,
we've got another
partner.
housemate, Sean Flynn, as well, who's on DSM. So yeah.
Wow, Sean, the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
Well done,
Yeah.
Sean. Fly the flag.
Got a lot to
That's
do with, yeah.
That's cool. Oh, Alex, see, we know him. He's OG guest back in the Zwift Academy. We got all the finalists on, I think the first one. I remember.
Oh, classic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Now, you're on like a bit of a break now, eh? That must be pretty nice.
Yeah, so I just finished like a big classics block. Yeah, and yeah, it was really good. So I usually have a scheduled break after my last race of the classics for about a week just to reset like my body and also mentally. Yeah,
Yeah.
just calm down for a little while and reset everything for the second half of the year.
Did you find you were looking forward to the break when you got towards the last few races on your calendar? Or yeah.
Yeah, so like my initial spring program wasn't going to be too hectic, but our team we've been plagued with a lot of illness and injury.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's been one of the worst years we've had in that regard. Like so many
Yeah.
people getting sick and having bad injuries. Yeah, so then I got added into a lot of the big classics.
Mm.
And then Flanders, I had a bit of a nasty crash. I didn't break anything, but
Yeah.
I like bruised a lot of the ribs on my left hand side, and
Oh
then
yeah.
had to race Roubaix. Managed to get through that, but then after Roubaix, it was like the nail
Oh.
in the coffin. So I had a bit of a forced break after that one. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did notice that some of the races you did were different to last year. And geez, that must have been pretty. Oh, geez, were you nervous for Roubaix, considering you had, the ribs? Because even if you just bruise ribs, everyone knows that it just hangs around for ages.
Yeah, it's like 4 to 6 weeks, I think, that it's pretty uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
like it was one of those things that I was told like it's gonna be painful. There's no way that you can like negotiate that
yeah,
or get rid of the pain. But it's something that unless I crash on it, which was a big if,
yeah,
it's not gonna do any more damage. It's just gonna
yeah,
hurt. So
yeah.
yeah, I knew that, if I could just try and block that out and focus on, the sectors or trying to do a job or something like that, then yeah, I just had to, yeah, just focus on other things to try and block that out. And my legs were hurting just as much by the end of the race as my ribs. So yeah.
Well, pretty cool to just even race those as well, like ticking off all the big ones. Did you get to go into the velodrome at the end?
Yeah, I made it in like towards the end of the race. I was actually not near the front group, but in a pretty good group with a few other Aussies. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was
no.
super special. When you like turn right and then right again into the velodrome, and you just hear this like roar of the
Really?
crowd. Yeah, it's just like, and then I just got goosebumps like all over my body. I was like, I can't believe I'm here right now. Like, and then you get like super emotional, like once you cross the finish line, or even when you hear the bell being
The bell,
rung,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, and then you finish, and there's like music playing. There's a massive DJ in the middle of the velodrome, and then
Oh my God.
you just like pull over and hug all your teammates, and everyone
Yeah.
just like starts crying because not because they're sad, just because there's so much emotion
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
yeah, it's super special.
Wow, that's crazy, eh? Like I just love the theatre, particularly on like the men's side. I've seen it. I think some of the Jayco girls as well in the first edition when you're out of the time limit, but you still make it to the finish. You know, like I think Jess Allen and I can't forget their name from Trinidad and Tobago, but they made it in. You know, when the gates were almost closed, and Cyrus Monk as well. He was the one this year in the men's. Like, just you know how special it is when people are trying to finish, even when they're out of time limit.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Like I was lucky that I wasn't too far behind, but yeah, it's the same feeling for anyone, I guess, if you, well, unless you win the race, of course, but if
Yeah.
you, like anybody just finishing that race and going into that atmosphere, it's just, I honestly, I can't really compare it to anything I've done before.
Wow.
There's so much
Wow.
hype around the race, and Roubaix is one of those races that I've watched ever since I was a kid. Like, would stay up
Yeah.
like the whole night and just
Yeah.
watch it because it's one of those races. It doesn't matter what the race situation is, like it's just exciting. There's something happening. So yeah, I have to say like Roubaix and the Tour is are the ones that I've just stayed up and watched as a kid. So that realization of actually being there and ticking that one off was
Mm.
pretty cool.
Ticking them off before 23 as well. And I mean, I was watching the women's one, but you know, you don't get to see the second and third groups, but 57th, that's pretty good for your first one. Not bad at all. Hang on, I'm just looking at the first cycling stats. Oh, yeah, in a solid group. Nice. Oh, here with Georgie and Josie as well, and Grace in that group, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Bit of
just ahead.
banter.
No, God, that's awesome. Yeah, how good. Wow. Super sick. You know, when we watch it at my house here and invite some of my close mates around, and I've started this tradition where I make this really shit dessert, you know, and it's Roubaix themed, right? And I don't think I've posted it on my page, but anyway, last year was okay, right? It was all right. I make like the Arenberg forest. And
What do you do?
so
Put gravel in cupcakes or something?
well, I'm pretty good because last year I went pretty budget and I just got like a block of chocolate and I made a brownie, right? So brownie in a pan and like a rectangle pan, and so that was basically the Arenberg layout. And then I just got a block of Whitaker's chocolate. Ali would know that one, and stuck it in the middle. So that was the cobbled path, right? And you
Yeah,
know, I had to
right.
kind of saw a couple of mil out of the brownie so the cobble sort of sat in there.
Yeah.
And then I made like a little flag with like Arenberg. And so that was last year's. So I'm thinking, how can I improve that? So this year I wasn't happy. Oh, actually, I got some green sprinkles and I bought a silver spray to try and like edible spray, to try and spray the chocolate so it would go kind of grey. It didn't. It just kind of made it sparkly brown. So I wanted to work on that. So this time, similar thing, except I went with lemon cake. I put a block of old gold in there because old gold, you know, that's kind of got it's pretty a rounded, you know, that's a chocolate for
Yeah.
Europeans listening. I felt
Yeah.
they looked similar cobbles. And then I wanted the color of the cobbles. So I bought fondant with some black food dye.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop it. This
Yeah.
is what I should have been having in my week off.
Yes, I'll show you. I'll send you the photo later, but it's just I did half a drop of black food dye into the pure white fondant, and I just like mixed it with my hands, and it turned like literally the perfect color of the cobbles, like when
Yeah.
they're dry. And then I laid it over the old gold, and then got a skewer, made them, you know, and I that wasn't enough. I had to make some big cobbles. So I had some
Yeah.
leftover cake and I just kind of like cut a square of cake and wrapped it in the fondant. And that was the winner because they
Yeah.
looked like when she put them in the fridge. Anyway, that was the dessert. So uh, the traditions are really good.
Yeah, it sounds like you put your absolute blood, sweat, and tears into that
Oh,
dessert.
I'm trying to. For you guys racing, I've got to throw what I can do at it, and that's making a dessert that no one eats, but it's, you can appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Anya, enough about my desserts. Third year. This is your third year with AG.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gone
Yeah, I
pretty quick.
signed, yeah, I did a mid-year transfer in 2022. Yeah.
Yes,
So
I remember.
two and a
Yes.
half years, yeah.
Mid-year transfer, and then it was like you were straight into the tour.
Yeah, thrown straight into the deep end.
Oh, and I remember when you were on the attack and you got on that breakaway on that stage. I just remember thinking because my friend Cassia was the one who was of outgoing
Yeah.
from AG, and then you sort of came in, and I remember when you were in that race and watching you just have a crack, because as everyone could imagine, it would have been so. Oh, that's the deep end, right? So the fact that you just having a go and Keto was really good on the commentary for that particular stage because just captured it. But yeah, three
Yeah.
years in, um, what do you think? What do you think about how you're going and in the cycling, the pro life? What's it like?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal to be honest. Like I've been in the sport a long time. I started when I was around 8 or 9 on the velodrome, just doing the Tassie track carnivals. So it was always a dream of mine to be here. And yeah, in 2022, within the space of about 4 weeks, not only was I going from a club team um onto a continental team like in Europe, but I went in those 4 weeks finding out like having a contract signed for the next 2 years and then also getting selected to do the Tour de France. So yeah, it was a massive whirlwind. And it was a really quick learning curve as well. But
Mm.
yeah, I was lucky that a lot of positive things happened like at the right time that allowed me to be in the position to like take those offers. Yeah, and then when I went to the tour, I was just thinking like in the mindset of just, let's give it an absolute crack and see what happens. And yeah.
Mm.
And I've been trying to take that similar mindset into these next 2 years and just try and be like a bit of a sponge and just soak up as much like information and learn as much as possible to help me like have a sustainable career. So
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
last year I had quite a few ups and downs. Yeah, didn't have a great start to the year and then got injured like halfway through. But then this year, yeah, we've tried to change up the approach and give a few different races a crack. So instead of doing more of the Ardennes hilly races, I
Mm.
decided to have a go at all the cobbled classics, and it's been something that I've really enjoyed, but I've still got a lot of learning to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you've done really well. I think it seems like for particularly people maybe in their first 3 or 4 years, getting off to a good start is a real key thing, isn't it? Like just getting on the front foot early. You guys had such a good summer and you had a really good start. Your TT was really good at nationals. Um,
Thanks.
it just keeps the momentum rolling, hey?
Yeah, it's something that's hard to get right, especially for people that sign a contract towards the end of the year. Like there's a lot of planning, like you've got to move your whole living situation over to Europe, and
Mm.
that does take a lot of stress. So like doing that and then also doing like your pre-season training. And then there's always the talk like, oh, am I good for nationals in summer? Like it's really important for some people, like racing at home in front of a lot of people that they know, and you
Mm.
want to race well in Australia. It feels good to do that, but then
Yeah.
balancing that to like be able to have a consistent form over the European season, especially for if you're on a team that values that a lot,
Mm.
which most
Mm.
teams would. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, just adjusting to that new lifestyle and yeah, trying to be professional for a whole 9 or 10 months of a season rather than just those times that you peak in Australia was something
Mm.
that's really different.
Okay. What do you think you do right as a professional cyclist, and what do you think what do you think you could improve on?
Um, I think I train quite well. Like there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but I think like I'm quite a sustainable person. I try not to like overtrain and I think I recover quite well as
Mm.
well. So I'm starting to understand the sacrifices and exactly what it takes to be able to perform well on a world tour level. Every single year the level's rising
Mm.
like quite significantly and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
every race is becoming more and more competitive and there's more people pushing into the final in all of the races. So
yeah,
you really like you can't afford to get away with too much. Like you can't slack off in your training and all that. But every single person that's there is pretty much training how they need to be. So for me, like, yeah, also having a good balance to sustain that training throughout the whole year without getting sick and injured is a
yeah.
key thing. And I think that's something I do okay, but yeah, there's a lot of things that I still need to improve on.
Okay. What's one thing that you can think of that you could
Oh, for
work
sure,
on?
the positioning in Europe, it's so difficult when you're coming from Australia. Like,
What explain the difference? Because most Australian or Oceania people would know, but maybe the European people would be like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah, coming from Australia and New Zealand, you're doing if you especially if you're doing like NRS races, you're just riding against like a good day, 30 or 40 people would rock up,
Yeah.
and the roads aren't technical at all.
Mm,
There's no twisty descents, there's no corners. The roads are probably 4 times as wide with good
mm,
surfaces. Like,
mm,
so you go from that to you get really good at being lazy in a race when you're racing in Australia. You don't
mm,
have to fight the whole time for a position. Within 10 seconds, you can close your eyes and get to the front and do what you need to do. It's not a skill that we're like learning as a junior,
mm.
or somebody that's progressing, through their riding. But as soon as you come to Europe, especially racing in countries like Belgium or the Netherlands, you're racing on these almost bike path roads and you got 160 girls fighting for one corner. So, like everybody knows, especially with the radios, okay, there's a climb coming up or a cobbled section. I need to be top 10, top 15 wheels around this corner in order to get through. But it's actually having the skill set to do it.
Mm,
Like
mm,
everybody knows they need to be there, but it's knowing when to move up, actually being in a position 5Ks before that so that you can like you've got enough space to go from 30th to 15th. Like that's
mm,
something that yeah, you can only learn through doing those races, so it takes some time.
mm. Oh yeah, massive, massive differences. Just the field numbers too, 160 is crazy. 160,
Yeah,
like, yeah, like you said, good day. Nationals, might have 60 on the start line and maybe only
yeah.
really 15 who could actually, compete. So big differences there. Of those things, so positioning is one thing you can work on. How do you work on that? Like, is it when you're in the race? Are you following certain riders that you know are usually pretty good at positioning, or are you trying to be like pay a bit more attention to the course profiles before the stage, or having cues out there? Like, how do you improve on that as someone who's emerging?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything, but the only way to improve on it is to just continue to do those races that are challenging
Mm,
for you.
mm,
Um, but for me, I'm really lucky that I have some amazing teammates, most of whom are younger than me, as
mm,
well, who are they're Dutch and Belgium, and they can just they've grown up in that environment where they're racing like these similar style races since
yeah,
they're 14, 15 years old.
yeah,
So for them it's like a skill that's just been acquired and they can do it
mm,
so easily. So for me it's like trying to follow them through the race, completely trusting in what they're doing and yeah, learning and listening to what they're saying to me and just watching how they do it. And then the more times you do it, yeah, it just becomes a little bit easier each time. But it's also a huge confidence thing. Like
mm.
a lot of these times you're just in your head is there's a voice saying, "Oh, I'm gonna crash." Like, yeah, it's and so you just got to try and focus on the process of what you're doing, and yeah, it will
Wow.
come.
Wow, cycling's bloody hard, isn't it? It can be bloody hard.
Yeah.
Now, AG Insurance Soudal is the team and really exciting team for, wow, it's just fun to watch. I think particularly from Oceania, um, based people just because there's so many people to support. It's really cool. With the team, what's something that AG Insurance Soudal do that really well in regards to supporting you guys as riders, maybe outside of the races? What is it? It might be something really small or something they do all the time that's just nice, something simple. Like, what do they do just that's nice to support you guys?
Yeah, we're lucky to have a really good DS with Yolene, who's
Mm.
one of the best, yeah, female cyclists in the history of the sport, coming from Belgium. So yeah, she's there, and we're lucky to have a really good culture off the bike where we're really like a family, like a really good team. So yeah, she also has a big part to play in that. Like we feel really comfortable with each other off the bike. We get along like a house on fire. Like yeah, it's really good. So we have this really relaxed environment off the bike, and then we can really go into the races and trust each other. Whether it goes to plan or not, we know that the girls are going to fully commit to the team plan, and yeah, it just takes the pressure off a little bit when everybody's super comfortable with each other like that.
Mm.
And that's something that the team has built over a few years, and I think that's something that you could also see when we race Tour Down Under this year. We have that team culture behind the scenes, and
Mm.
even with three new riders that had never met, like I know Sarah really well, we go a
Yeah.
long way back, but yeah, she'd never ridden with any of the other girls, and neither had another two riders that joined the team. So yeah, but immediately we could gel really well together, and then that does show in results as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you guys were well, that was something. And TDU, you could easily, maybe if you were riding with people you didn't like or it was just a bit edgy, there were often quite a lot of times that during TDU where you had to go back for Sarah or was it yourself or Ali or Kim and to the court. And maybe after the third or fourth time, if the culture wasn't so good, you'd probably just go, "Ah, I'm not doing that one more time." You get frustrated. So that's a good, yeah, I like that. And it does come from the team, doesn't it? It was just the way they structure everything and maybe foster that environment. That's really good to know. That's really good to know. Now, your sponsors, some great equipment, right? And the bikes are
Yeah.
great. All know Specialized. That's dream. But what about the other equipment or just general sponsors? I want to know what's something that you receive from the team sponsors that you really like.
Yeah, we're super lucky. I think we've got some of the best equipment
Oh yeah,
in the peloton, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's super privileged with the equipment that we get. Yeah, I don't know. Do I have to pick a
Yeah,
favorite?
pick one. Yeah, I think Sarah said the shoes, even though she didn't have them on.
Yeah, safety jump.
And I
Yeah, they
didn't
are
get
good.
the
Very
hint.
safe.
Yeah. Are they like a sneaker?
Yeah, they're like a sneaker. I think they're like a work shoe. For like industries and stuff where yeah, but yeah, they also come in sneakers, and we get these pair of like kind of like sandals, but the bottom are like it's like a gumboot with a tread so that you don't
Oh,
slip, but they're
yeah,
like
nice.
slides. Yeah,
Nice.
but I don't know if they're my favorite. Maybe they're, safe, but I'd have to say from our sponsor AG, we get every year at our team presentation, we get like a something from JBL. So like a year ago, we got a JBL speaker. So that's really cool. And it's like a
Oh,
small one and it fits in your back pocket. So
yeah.
I reckon that's my favorite thing. I just bang the tunes out on a training
Yeah.
ride when I'm with my friends and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would or like have it on the team bus before the race. I
Yeah.
think that's yeah. So cheers, AG.
Quality. JBL is good. So is JBL one of the sponsors or AG just purchase it for the riders?
I think they just do it for the riders, yeah. Or
Oh,
maybe I'm not sure, maybe they have a deal like the sponsor
maybe.
with JBL. But yeah, and it's got little AG logo on it. So
Oh,
yeah, it's cool.
that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. You also got Oakley's too, and I noticed that you really like the Katos.
Yeah, I love the Katos, but it has to be a specific race for them. Like I wouldn't wear the Katos if I'm doing a mountain stage. So
What are you wearing then?
they're I wear I think they're the Sutras if I'm wearing a like the bigger
Oh.
ones. Yeah,
Now the
if I'm
sutras
doing
with the
climbing.
frame underneath or the lights without the frame underneath?
No, the lights. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yep.
yeah.
Mm,
So that's like, I don't know, in my head, it's like breathes a bit better and they don't
yeah.
fog up if I'm climbing. But then for sure, the Katos when I'm doing any kind of a flat race that's fast. I don't know, they just feel fast. I think it's in my head, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Different glasses give you a different persona. Uh,
Yeah.
I have a pair of I've got so many sunnies, right? And I've already plugged it on the pod and I say it every time, but once upon a time, I was Oakley 2021, Oakley, Australia, uh, Oakley Sport Salesman of the Year. I sold the most sunglasses in Australia for Oakley Sport. And I won many pairs of sunglasses and I won $2,000 for that, believe it or not.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So what would be the sunnies that you sell the most, do you think, from
Um,
Oakley? Like
well,
cycling
I was
sunglasses.
working in a like a bicycle clothing apparel store, and so most people would just want to like look cool, but I would always recommend the radars because
Yeah, classic.
yeah, they look good. If you do another sport, like if you're running or you play cricket or tennis, I reckon
Yeah,
because they got that long rubber sleeve, they just don't move. And then
yeah,
I think when you take them off and put them in your helmet, I think they look the best in the helmet, which is also a
yeah.
consideration.
Do you flip your sunnies upside down when you put them in the helmet or straight?
If I have my clear lenses in, I do straight, but if they're the different lenses, like colored lenses, I go upside down. I don't know why.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
But reason I brought it up is because I got given a pair of the encoders, those gold ones? They're a bit la-di-da.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the 24K is the actual lens color. But I've worn them like four times because they're so nice. I could only find a particular race or a group right to wear them on, so I've actually never wear them. It's the same thing. Like you wear the encoders on certain days and the Sutro lights.
Yeah. I actually managed to convince one of the youngest riders on the team that you save 20 watts if you wear the Katos, if you do over 45K an hour. She fully bought it.
She wears them in the TT.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. She was so every flat race for a while,
yeah.
she was wearing them and then it was so funny when she figured out that that's like impossible. But
Well, I mean, I reckon encoders would be the most aero.
yeah, yeah, we'd have to test it out in the wind tunnel
Mm,
and see.
yeah. Well, Sunnies, they are very good, and I feel bad for the other teams that have to wear the poor brands. Now, oh, okay. So it will be more of a tricky question, but I've sent you these anyway. Improving the Women's World Tour. Now, the Women's World Tour and women's professional cycling in general has grown. It's grown so fast. Like you said, even with the talent, riders getting better, riders getting paid a little bit more because more sponsors. The tour has been crazy for it and things like that. But what do you think the sport could use now that would improve it? Like I mentioned in my example, a standalone under 23 World Championship road race, which is
Yeah,
coming. But that's
yeah.
one example, which would be things. But do you have anything for me?
Yeah, for sure. I think this has improved slightly over the last few years, or it has improved quite a lot, but I still
Mhm.
think there's more room for more TV coverage. So our races already are not as long as the men's, everyone knows that. And I don't think the answer would be to increase the race distance. Our racing's different. It's more exciting, more aggressive. Well, not more aggressive, but yeah, the style of
It
women's
is.
racing is it
Mm.
is aggressive. So especially when we're racing distances, some of the classics are still only 120, 130 kilometers. So when you're only showing the last hour of that race, you're not in capturing the whole race and what's happened, especially with the aggressiveness almost from the gun.
Yeah.
So I think in order to bring more money into the sport and more sponsors, um, it would be really good to, increase that TV coverage, yeah, across and not just the World Tour races, start bringing it into, those
Mhm.
point pros, point ones and point twos and
Mhm.
showcase also those other continental teams that are pushing as well. So I think that's still something that can be improved. Yeah, and that's going to help women's cycling.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. Yeah, the easiest example is like Roubaix and Flanders, and get to see the whole race. I think Roubaix starts at like kilometer 80 or 70. I mean, it's not even all the sectors. And like 2 years
No,
ago, remember Lizzie Deignan's win? You turn on the TV and she's got a 2 minute lead, and there's
yeah,
like 10 riders left in the peloton, and you missed all this amazing action. Like,
yeah.
mm, very good
Like
point.
we also have, the fight for the breakaway at the start of the
Yeah.
race, except our race is more condensed because we have a shorter race distance. So the amount of action that there is in between moments, like key moments of the race is a less time. So it would make sense to increase the TV coverage to, be able to understand, what's happened throughout the whole race, or how you switch on the TV, there's only 30 girls left in a cobbled classic, like what
Mm,
happened
mm,
to get it there. And yeah. Also the really key strong domestiques that are
exactly.
working before
Yes.
40, 50 Ks to go. Like also to showcase, yeah, the role that those riders have played into the race as well, and understand like the team dynamics a little bit more for the sport would be good, I think.
For sure. Celebrate those characters that you could, and only in the recent, maybe the last 10 years in the men's sport, they've really been celebrated, those early workers like de Klerk or, riders like that, where they're on the front in the tourists, for example. As soon as the coverage starts, oh, there's de Klerk, the tractor. And then someone watching at home would be like, oh, the tractor. Yeah, oh, there he is. He's there again. And on the women's side, we're missing that. There's tractors there that need to be, that need to be highlighted and people can get behind. That's like another thing. Yeah, it's a very good point. So let's hope it continues to improve because I can remember Amstel Gold. Actually, it's Amstel, Flesh, and Flanders. I've said this a few times on the pod before, but back in the day, the only coverage was at the fixed camera at the finish line.
Yeah.
So you could tune in with like half an hour for the race to go. You're following on Twitter usually to see what's going on, and you just have the fixed cam at the top of the hill, and you're just waiting to see, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
There's little dots in the distance.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
like I said, it has come a long way in the last few years, and
it
I'm
has.
I'm really privileged with the time that I have come into the sport, where
Mhm.
already so much has improved, but I still think there's improvement to come. So,
Yeah.
and I think showcasing, the majority of our races would be a really good improvement.
Well said. Well said. Now, another interesting topic. I actually don't think this has been talked about enough. Is Demi Vollering's current situation, and I wanted to see the perspective from current rider. But firstly, is like rider contracts and all that sort of rumors stuff. Do you and your teammates do you talk about it? Like, you do?
Yeah,
Okay,
for
okay,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
because
Like,
juicy.
especially these last few weeks, we've been in the team house in Belgium. We're just chilling there together for a month. So you do run out of things to talk about. So especially when there's a
Yeah.
bit of drama in the peloton, everyone does have a bit of a yarn
Hmm.
about it.
Okay, okay, it's good to know because Demi, I thought it was first of all it was really interesting the Lotte and Lotte Kopecky and Demi Vollering, the dynamic in the team was very interesting, especially after last year. Kind of seemed like it was sort of fine now, but with them both being out of contract up until a couple of weeks ago with Kopecky resigning, it just made it really interesting to see who would stay, who would go, but. Demi's like staring down the decision of staying with the team for perhaps a little bit less money, or moving to maybe a team that's not as well known or maybe not as well equipped yet, for a much bigger salary, considerably much bigger salary. And you're reporting like she's been offered $1 million a season for
Yeah,
some
it's a lot,
period.
eh?
That's a lot of money, and I've been told by a few different people that Annemiek was getting the highest ever, around 450 in her heyday, 450K, and that's euro as well. So that's still a lot of money, but nowhere near what she really was worth.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think $1 million a season, whether she gets that or not? Is that I don't know, is that a good thing? Does that lift all the boats sort of thing? Or do you think it creates a bigger gap between the top and the lowest paid riders? What do you think?
If I'm honest, I think Demi was is deserving of that contract for sure.
Mm,
Yeah, if you look at her season last year, she won the biggest race of the season, the Tour de France. Absolutely dominated there. And then if you also look at her classic season, she was incredibly consistent, like with Lotta as well. Especially in the Ardennes Classic, she was just cleaning up. So yeah, I think she did the triple there. Um,
she did.
yeah. So yeah, I think she's super deserving of a contract like that. Um, and yeah, I don't know if it's true or if it's just a rumor, but
Mm,
yeah, I think a rider of her caliber is worth that kind of money.
mm,
But at the same time, the sport also needs to improve on a few things to help there not be such a gap between riders like Demi getting paid a million, hypothetically, a million um euro, and then some
mm.
riders on zero. So
Yeah.
we need to we need to try and make it, yeah, so that everybody's getting paid and can afford to do the things that they need to do to be professional.
Mm, mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a tricky one.
again, point 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 to that Cyclist Alliance survey that you can go and check out any time. The Cyclist Alliance is like the women's sort of it's like an advisory group that do a lot for the women's pros, but they do a survey and they actually yeah, there's still a considerable number of professional, even at Conti level, that are getting paid nothing. And they're racing still some of the biggest races as well with the World Tour women. So that's pretty crazy. But I was just looking at Emmy's season last year. She won
Yeah, it's
Strada,
pretty incredible.
she won Dwars d'Or, second in Flanders. Oh, she flopped that. Second in Brabant Spiel, first in Amstel, first in Flesh, first in Liège, second overall Vuelta, two-stage wins.
Yeah, with the controversial P stop there or something.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yes, that was yeah. Her and Annemiek were having that spicy meal
Yeah,
in Spain. Then
yeah,
Azalea, second there, stages. Volta Burgos, she won that. Oh my God. Second at Swiss, washed. Netherlands road race. Oh my God. Tour de France, yeah, stage and the Jersey. Second road race at Worlds. That's a crazy. That is ridiculous. That is
so
ridiculous.
you can understand why teams are willing to start offering this kind of money in order to
Yeah,
secure a rider like that in the long term. So, yeah,
100%.
I
And
mean, it was always going to happen. There's always going to be a rider that's, get and break that barrier at some stage.
mm,
And I think why not Demi? Like, if you look at her season last year, you can see why someone would be offering something like that.
yeah, for sure. And like that might be a marker for future stars coming up. Someone has a very similar season, say they win all the classics. Maybe they don't do the tour, but they win all the classics, and they say, okay, contract is up. I've won Flesh, I've won Amstel, won Dwars d'Or, won Strada. You know, Demi's earning a mil. She won those two races. Let's target half of that salary. Now that becomes the benchmark. That whereas before it might have been, oh well, Annemiek won this, this, and this. She gets full 50. So then that ceiling, I mean, how could you ever ask for more than that what Annemiek gets, So maybe
Yeah.
with that higher contract, it then maybe allows others to ask for more, and rightly so. Um, oh, it's so interesting though. And actually I read today that it looks like FDJ are the ones in the box seat, according to
Really?
Giro
Oh,
Scondomilio from Laghetta della Sport. I think that's how you say it. But he's always right. He's the man. If I listen to anyone, it's that guy. And he said that now, not UAE, not Visma, but FDJ. So that would be juicy. That would be
I reckon
juicy.
there's a few teams knocking on the door though, for sure.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. Although I'd like to see, I was really hoping it would be UAE because I'm thinking they wouldn't just stop with Demi. They'd come back next year and that's like the coffers are open. We know that I'm sure they've got money to somewhere unlocked.
Yep.
But anyway, now, uh, You're on your break. How long have you got? 2 weeks?
No, so I've started riding again. Yeah, the last few days. I had
Oh,
about 6 days off. So yeah, just to like stop
yeah.
stop the pain a little bit. So slowly getting into it now. Yeah.
Okay. And do you find it easy to not ride your bike?
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm tired
Good.
like that, for sure. It was really
Yeah.
easy for me to switch off this week and just like both mentally and physically and just,
Mm,
have a complete break for a week. So
mm.
yeah. And now I feel super motivated to get stuck into another training block.
Oh, nice. That's good. Okay. Now, I was thinking about this question just today, right? I was on the driving range, actually, just hitting a couple of shots for you golf fans, which is zero. It's just me. Um, Greg's going through my bag up there. Anyway, if you could bring any shop to Girona from Australia, what would it
Oh,
be? And like it could be okay, let's do a shop that sells like a shop that would be in a mall, not food. And
oh well, there goes all my shops.
no, hang on, but then also a food shop. So
Or
one of
also,
each.
geez.
So you could bring like rivers.
Oh, the food shop for sure would be a Coles or a Woolies, just like an
Oh,
Australian supermarket where you like, and it has to be the Coles or Woolies like in Devonport, Tassie, because I've memorized where the aisles of that Coles and Woolies. So, and yeah, with the international food section too, but just like that would just be so good just to do my shopping there and not go and get bits and pieces from every like different supermarket, yeah, in Girona. But yeah, so a Coles and a Woolies, and then
that's a big, I mean, that's kind of a cheat. Just cheating a little bit. You're taking the entire,
supermarket.
it's
Yeah,
supermarket, but I'll let it. That's a good answer though.
yeah, for sure. Oh, it's just yeah, that's like one of my favorite things when I go home is to
Mm,
go back and just go to the supermarket again for the first time, and it's just like can have a massive sigh of relief and just get everything you need.
love
And
it.
things that like you haven't had for 9 or 10 months as well. So
Oh, like
yeah.
what though? What's an example?
Oh, like
Like
I don't know,
crumpets?
I can't put it down. Like if you go into like the dairy section, just like getting Chobani yogurt, for example,
Nice.
is like
Okay.
something you don't get in Spain or in Europe. Like the
Really?
yogurts here are good, but just as an example, you just have the Chobani and that's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
they're
it's just
good.
like, oh, I miss this.
Okay.
Um, yeah, or like yeah, stuff like that.
Yep.
But then I reckon I'd have a surf shop um in
Oh,
in Spain. Like I really like going because I spent a bit of time on the Sunshine Coast when I was studying uni.
yeah.
Yeah, and I used to love just having a stroll in the surf shop. So
Mm.
yeah, that would be
Mm.
nice. And just
Yeah.
like the clothing and stuff like that. That would be
Yep.
cool.
That's coming back into, I mean, I don't really know anything about clothing fashion, but I think the surfing stuff's coming back in. Not that it ever went out, but I think it kind of went in the shadows a bit. Now it's resurfacing. I sort of saw a friend of mine who was wearing a Billabong. Actually, my friend Sarah was wearing a Billabong jumper the other day. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I kind of want one.
Yeah, yeah, I love the surf clothes, like the baggy t-shirts and stuff. It's just so
Mm,
comfy. Yeah,
mm.
definitely my choice of fashion.
Wow. Okay. Well, you never know. Maybe it might find itself in your own one day.
Yeah,
Crazy things.
yeah, for sure.
Well, Anya, thank you very much for coming on the pod.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great.
Oh, it was good. Really good to chat.
Yeah, no, should be good. Yeah, all the best. Are you in WA at the moment or?
I am. I am in the
Yeah,
mighty Perth. In fact, the next place I'm going is Tasmania.
very nice. Whereabouts in Tassie are you going?
I don't know. Wherever the Devil's Cardigan is. Where is that? Devil's Cardigan. The
Devil's Cardigan. I think that's on the east coast somewhere. Yeah,
I'm
beautiful.
searching up now. So Devil's Cardigan is the Gravel Nationals. Amazing.
Yeah, that's
It
on my
is.
bucket list, that one.
It looks feral too. That's how it should be. Derby. Derby.
Classic
Oh,
Tassie. Yeah.
yeah. So it's in June. So I imagine it'll be pretty wet, eh?
Yeah, it'll be freezing too. You'll be in the minuses, Derby in June. So bring some winter clothes.
I don't think there's anywhere in WA that gets minus.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, should be really good. Looking forward to it. And then yeah, we've got some other cool things planned later. But yeah, it was really good. Anya, so nice to talk to you. And this is coming out Wednesday. So yeah, good luck
Awesome.
with all your training and looking forward to seeing how you go.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
All right. See ya.
All right.